everyone, I hope you're all doing well. I am back with another video today after quite a long absence. I'm sorry about that. It's just with school starting and everything, you know, it's been kind of hard to schedule filming in there. But I am back with another video for you today, and hopefully I'm going to be able to film a couple videos today after I film this one, so I'll have a few to put up. I'm hoping to get on a more regular filming schedule in the very near future, so hopefully that will happen and there will be more regular uploads for you guys. I just want to say a quick thank you to everyone for sticking with me over this like 2-month, I guess, absence. I've been away from making videos on a regular basis. Just thank you so much to all of you for sticking with me. And also welcome to all my new subscribers. There are quite a few of you out there. I know I owe a lot of that to two lovely ladies, and those are Tanya from List Obsessed Reader and Elena from Elena Reads Books. They both shouted me out in videos on their channel not too long ago, and I got a lot of new subscribers from that, so thank you ladies so much. That was so very kind of you to do, and I really appreciate it. And welcome to all of my new subscribers. I'm sure it's been kind of disappointing to subscribe to me and then not get any new videos for like 2 months. I'm sorry about that, but there will be lots of new ones coming your way, hopefully in the very near future. So today's video is going to be my August wrap-up. Yes, that's how behind I am. We're going all the way back to August. But yes, I'm going to talk briefly about the books that I was able to complete in August. There are 5 of them here next to me in my little pile. And I'm sorry if I don't go into too much depth about them, about what they were about or what I thought about them. I'll do my best, but this was back in August, so I'm not sure how much my memory is going to serve or fail me here. So yes, and these are in no particular order either. The first book that I have on my stack here is Miss Bunkle's book by D.E. Stevenson. This was actually a buddy read with Ange over from Beyond the Pages. She actually has just returned as well from taking a little hiatus from her channel, so I will link her down below and you should definitely go check her out if you haven't done so already. This book is about Miss Bunkle, who lives in the small town of, what is it called? Silverstream. And she is low on money, and so she decides that to remedy this and to get some revenue coming in, she is going to write a book. And so her whole thing is she only knows how to write about things that have happened to her and people that she knows. She has no imagination at all, so she just writes a book about the varied cast of characters that live in her town. And so once the book gets picked up and published, and once it is published and everyone in the town starts to read it, some people are less than thrilled with the portraits of themselves that Miss Bunkle has painted. All the names are changed, of course, and everything, but it's very clear that it's about this small town and the characters within the town. So a little bit of chaos ensues with people being upset about how they are portrayed in these books. She published it under a pseudonym, so nobody knows that she's the author, and so they're trying to figure out who wrote this book and give them a piece of their minds because they are not very happy about it. And yes, this book is a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's a little confusing at first because there is such a wide cast of characters, but once you get them down, they have pretty distinct personalities, so after a little while you get images of them more cemented in your head, and it's easier to read about them. And overall, this was a whole lot of fun. It was quick, fast-paced. I flew through it in just a few days, and it was really enjoyable, and it's actually the first in a series, and so I'll definitely be picking up the other books in the future, and I'm very excited about that. I really like D.E. Stevenson's writing. She's very witty and clever, so I'll definitely be picking up more books in this series and more books by D.E. Stevenson in general in the future. The second book I have here to show you is The Boy with the Cuckoo Clock Heart by Matthias Malzu. That is probably not right at all. It's this fellow right here. That's who wrote the book. I'm sorry for that terrible pronunciation. He is a French author, and this was translated into English by Sarah Ardizone, I don't know, just butchered that name too, but yes. So this is about our main character Jack, who was born on the coldest day on Earth in Edinburgh in 1874. And so his heart froze, and the midwife that delivered him had to replace his heart with a cuckoo clock heart. So he has a cuckoo clock where his heart should be, and it's just about his journeys dealing with this predicament and how it changes his life and the way he has to live his life and the way that he has to love and deal with love, and falling in love in his life is always going to be different for him because his heart supposedly isn't strong enough to take it. It's a very fantastical, magical realism type book, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. I could see how this wouldn't be to everyone's taste. I don't think it would be to everyone's taste, but I quite enjoyed it, and I think I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. It would probably be more of a 3.5 star read for me, but I overall really enjoyed it. It was intriguing. The writing is, I don't know how to describe it. It's a little different. It's sharp and a little bit scandalous. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, it's a very interesting, kind of clever, sharp writing style that I enjoyed for the most part. The movie is fantastic as well. I actually watched the movie before I read this, and then I went back and rewatched it after I had read this, and the movie is just absolutely stunning. It's quite different from the book, even though the screenplay was written by the author, I believe, but the two stories have some kind of major plot differences, but I enjoyed both of them. If I had to pick one above the other, I think I would actually pick the movie, but that could be just because I'm biased about the animation style, though. It's an animated movie, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Like, even if the story doesn't interest you, just watch the movie for the animation alone. It is beautiful. I believe it was originally designed by Nicoletta Secoli, who also illustrated one of the picture books that I showed in my picture book video that I did a little while back, The Girl in the Castle Inside the Museum. You should definitely check that out too. It's absolutely gorgeous. So yes, her style is perfect to pair with this type of magical realism story, and it really worked for the film. And yes, like I said, I enjoyed the book as well, and I would say if you like magical realism, give it a try. The next thing I read was a Kate DiCamillo novel, who you have heard me, if you've seen any of my videos, especially recently, you've heard me absolutely rave about Kate DiCamillo. I love her so, so much. And the book that I read was one of hers that I haven't ever read before, and that is The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. And it was exquisite. It was impeccable. It's one of the best books I have ever read. I can't even put my feelings about this book into words adequately. It's just one of those books that just leaves you absolutely speechless. It's so profound and so moving and so heartbreaking and just so breathtaking. It's everything. It's amazing. Everyone needs to read it. It's so, so good. But anyway, I'll try to give you a little bit about the plot rather than just throwing a bunch of glowing adjectives at you. It is about this little China rabbit here on the cover named Edward Tulane, and he belongs to a little girl named Abilene who absolutely loves him to pieces. And he is a very vain rabbit. He's made of china. His ears are real rabbit fur. He's very aware of his beauty and vain about it, and he doesn't really love Abilene the way that she loves him at all. He doesn't really love anyone. He's just kind of completely self-absorbed and doesn't really care about anyone around him. And one day Abilene loses him, and he goes on a journey for the next several years, and this book is just bouncing from house to house, owner to owner, and this is just about learning about love along the way. And this book catalogs that journey, and it is absolutely amazing. It is probably tied for my favorite Kate DiCamillo. I was discussing this with my friend Katie, who you've heard me speak about on my channel countless times as well, and I was telling her that I couldn't decide if this or The Tale of Despereaux was now my favorite. And I reread The Tale of Despereaux in September, and so I still can't decide which one's my favorite. I think they have to be tied because they're just both so incredible. But yes, if you haven't read any Kate DiCamillo, please, and you like children's literature or middle grade at all, or even if you just like beautiful writing and good stories and just good books in general, please pick her up. She's amazing. I think everyone needs to read her because she's just absolutely exquisite. She's a genius. She's a queen. What can I say? So yes, obviously I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, and yes, I loved it, obviously. The next thing I have to show you is another sort of magical realism type story, and that is The Mermaid's Sister by Carrie Ann Noble. Look at this cover. Isn't it beautiful? I love how it has the little pictures in the corners as well. Yes, I just think it's a beautiful cover. But anyway, this is about, what is her name? 16-year-old Clara, who lives with her sister Marin and their guardian Auntie in a cozy cottage atop Landfair Mountain. I'm sorry, I'm having to read from the back here because it's been that long since I've read it. And Clara, she and her sister Marin were adopted by Auntie when they were just babies. The story that Auntie always tells is that Marin arrived in a seashell and Clara was brought by a stork. And so this story opens when the girls are 16 and Marin is beginning her transformation into a mermaid. And her sister Clara and their best friend O'Neill team up to get her to the ocean, because obviously she's a mermaid and she needs to be in the ocean, and she's getting sicker and sicker each day that she's not. So they team up to take her from the mountain to the ocean, and along the way they encounter some obstacles, obviously, and this is just about their journey and also Clara's journey, her own personal journey into acceptance of losing her sister to the sea. I really enjoyed this. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, or maybe 3.5 out of 5 stars. I was talking about this with my friend Katie as well, and I was telling her that the setting is just absolutely lovely. Like, I want to live in that cottage atop the mountain with Auntie and Clara and Marin. Just an absolutely wonderful, really cozy setting. It's very atmospheric, and I enjoyed it a lot. The characters are great in this. The romance in it, of course, there's some romance. I won't say between who, but there's some romance in it, and that was okay. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was a little cliche, a little predictable, but it wasn't too huge a part of the book, I wouldn't say. It's more about Clara's journey and accepting what's happening to her sister and everything like that, and that I really enjoyed. That was really well done. There are some beautiful passages in here having to deal with that, and yeah, overall I really enjoyed this story, and I would recommend it if you think it sounds like something you would enjoy. The last book I have here was actually a reread. I read this for the first time either last year or earlier this year, and it is Oddfellows Orphanage by Emily Winfield Martin. This is an absolutely gorgeous book. It's written and illustrated by Emily Winfield Martin. Let me just show you the rest of it because it's all gorgeous. Under the naked hardback is beautiful. It's this lovely like blue color. And then let me show you some of the illustrations on the inside. This actually rose out of Emily Martin just doing some sketches and little like bios about characters. This is a map. You know it's good when there's a map in there. It's a map of the grounds of Oddfellows Orphanage. And yes, so she just had these character sketches, like this one here, of Headmaster Oddfellow Bluebeard. And she wrote little bios about them, and then she decided to write a story about all of these characters. And it is absolutely beautiful. There's another one of the character bios, and then it's also illustrated throughout as well. And it's just gorgeous. It's done in this like sepia tone almost. It's gorgeous. I love it. Loved this when I read it the first time, and then I reread it because my friend Katie read it for the first time and absolutely loved it, and we were discussing it, and I decided that I needed a reread. And it's just a tiny little thing, and so I reread it, and it was so worth it. It was just as good, if not better. It was actually probably better than the first time around that I read it, and it was, it's just a magical little story about all these little children and the teachers and professors that live at Oddfellows Orphanage together, and they're all kind of misfits, you know. They've just been, they're orphans collected from across the globe, you know. Whenever the headmaster Bluebeard finds out about a new one, he goes out and gets them and brings them home to the orphanage. I'll just go ahead and read you the inside flap real quick because it gives you a feel for what the book is all about. It says, "What do an onion-headed boy, a child-sized hedgehog, and a tattooed girl have in common? They all live at Oddfellows Orphanage. Discover the magical, marvelous world of Oddfellows through the eyes of its newest orphan, Delia. From the unusual students to classes in cryptozoology and fairy tale studies, from haircut day to a sea monster sighting field trip, Nothing at Oddfellows is ordinary, except when it comes to friendships. In that, Oddfellows is like any other school where children discover what they mean to each other while learning how big and astonishing the world really is. If that doesn't pique your interest, I don't know what will. It's just a lovely little story about all the things that I just mentioned in the description, and it's not written in a traditional narrative style, I wouldn't say. There's not really an overarching plot. It's just like each chapter is a little short story almost, a little vignette about something that's happening at the orphanage. Like there's a Christmas chapter, there's a fall chapter, there's one where they go to the circus, there's one, the description said, where they go out on a Loch Ness Monster sighting field trip, and it's just absolutely wonderful and magical, and all of the characters are just so lovely and so well fleshed out, even for such a tiny little book. They really all have their own personalities, and it's just enchanting and charming and whimsical and lovely, and so if it sounds like something that you would enjoy, I would definitely recommend it. Alright everyone, that is everything I have for my very, very belated August wrap-up. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions for me, please leave them down in the comments. If you've read any of these books, please let me know what you thought of them. If you want to read any of them, please let me know that too. And yeah, just leave any thoughts, musings, questions, wonderings down in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about anything that you have to say, and yes, I am so glad to be back making videos, and I hope that I will be able to film and upload on a much more regular schedule from here on out. Keep our fingers crossed for that, and yes, I hope you all are having a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.